be launching a tasty pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs, and we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
Welcome back to Legendary Foods Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Thursday, August 26th, 2021. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. Full disclosure, at this point in my life, I'm not a big drinker. But I will tell you what, if I was, I think I'd be having a double shot of whatever Hunter Labrada is throwing down on every night that ends in Y. According to Hunter, right now his focus is at an all-time high. His training is clicking, and he is happy with the changes that he's seeing in his body on a daily basis. Even for someone with such a small sample size at the pro level, if there's one thing we've learned about Hunter so far, it's that he seems to have his process dialed down to a science. So if he says that he's on track to be his all-time best when he steps on stage 7 weeks from now, he's probably right. And if you're someone trying to fight for a spot in the top 5, that's a scary thought. Speaking of scary thoughts, have you seen these videos of Nathan Asha and Samson Dauda training together last week? Nathan was fresh off his huge win at the Europa Championships, and at that point, Samson was 6 weeks out from making his season debut at the Arnold UK. And from the way it looks, these two are both giving each other a run for the money. I'd imagine that motivation to make these last few weeks count has to be at an all-time high for both of them right now, considering the fact that Nathan is trying to make a statement in his first trip back to the Olympia stage in nearly 2 years. And Samson is trying to make it there for the first time by hopefully winning the Arnold UK. I know we've said this a million times, but bodybuilding really does feel like a game of inches sometimes. And if joining forces with another real-life superhero brings you one step closer to the promised land, then I say these two are definitely on the right path. We've talked about the Arnold Classic a lot over the last few weeks, and we even touched on some of the storylines about what it would mean for the defending champions to come back and defend their titles in their respective divisions. But if you're excited to see what this year's Arnold Classic physique lineup will look like and what some of the implications from that show are, then this new update from Bryan Jones should really get you going. A few days ago, Bryan released a new update on his Instagram with the caption, "It's on," which might have been the perfect way to put it considering how he looked in those photos. This guy has all the tools to be a legitimate title contender in Columbus. So if he can come up and really nail it, he's going to give Alex Cabronero and Terrence Ruffin just about all they can handle. And since we're already talking about wild cards at the Arnold Classic, I figured that we might as well end the show with this update from Seung Chul Lee, who's a little less than 6 weeks away from making his debut on one of the biggest stages in bodybuilding. A few weeks ago, Chul landed stateside to finish out his last few weeks of his prep for the Arnold and the Olympia out in Las Vegas, where he's been training with Flex Lewis and his whole crew out there at the new Dragon's Lair gym. Out of all the athletes in the men's open this year, Chul is probably the biggest question mark because we just don't have a big sample size to go on. Granted, he did finish 12th at the Olympia last year, but other than that, he's pretty much an enigma to most people who aren't plugged into the international bodybuilding scene. That said, the guy's obviously got some talent if he's coming in as the 12th ranked bodybuilder on the planet. So depending on how things shape up, I don't think a 5th or 6th place finish is completely out of the question. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.